So let's casual gaming. So let's casual gaming. So let's casual gaming. So let's casual gaming.
Hello, you're listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. We're a Geelong-based gaming podcast where we put on some bad events and then talk badly about them.
Yes, but if we're talking about bad events, no, that seems accurate. It's not even like a reverse negative.
No, as in, we're talking badly.
Yes.
We don't talk good. We fail
No.
English. That's impossible.
Talking good is not. But that
Not
doesn't
our strong point.
necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're talking negatively about them. We
No.
might be talking positively badly,
Yes,
which isn't always negative.
correct.
Right. I'm glad we're clear.
I think that's correct. I'm just going to go with it. Let's roll with it.
It is now.
It is. It's on the internet, so it's real. So last weekend we put on yet another Blood Bowl Sevens event. So we've done a few of these now.
It's becoming a habit.
I know, right? So we'll have to cut that out soon. Thoughtless Bowl presents Training Day. Training Day was a thing. First tournament of the year for us. First of a couple, let's say.
Yeah. There was some lousy smarch weather, but yeah.
But what it was, so before we get into what happened and who was there and blah, 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 what was it? It was a game of sevens, or it was a couple of games of sevens, actually, 4 rounds. And the only real strict measures that we put in place for this one was the fact that you could only take linemen
Mm-hmm.
and 1-star player.
Yeah. So if we talk about what I feel was the inspiration behind this is we're thinking, junior sports type things that happen, if we're talking kids footy and cricket and stuff, where they kind of get a celebrity to come and they host like a day clinic thing where you all do some sports with kids from all across the region, and then you might play some games against each other with said celebrities there, and we all feel very honoured that they have descended from on high to mingle with us commoners, and we've played with some kids, sure, played with some, we've
It's on the internet.
Oh, it
Take
must
it
be
back.
true. No, but you've kind of met some friends from different areas, so that was kind of the idea. Can we do that in a sevens? Being that sevens is kind of the amateur Blood Bowl league, let's host a clinic day with a celebrity, key star player, and players that you might not necessarily always be playing with. So linemen, because you're all shit, but from other teams or other traditional teams that might be in the same region as you. Keyword.
It was a hodgepodge. It was basically one player that can actually play the game and a whole heap of people running behind pretending to be good to try and impress said star, who was really just there for the money.
So much. And occasionally just, there's that famous internet video of the guy just walking around or skating on ice, just kicking a giant inflatable ball at kids. I feel like this is almost what had happened here in quite a few games.
It was an interesting day. We had we ruled out the mega stars. So Griff,
Morg,
Morg,
Hack Flam Creek.
Yeah, all the ones that if we didn't rule them out, there would have been half a dozen on the day, and people may have ended up playing Griff every single game, which was not going to be fun. So ruled them out to try and get a bit more of a variety of the star players, just to see what they can do, really, because we've been running sevens events, we haven't been running 11s events yet, so we haven't seen the star players. Star players are not a thing in sevens.
No, and look, probably rightly so, but It was very much up front a bit of an experiment to see, hey, we've got a whole local kind of community that doesn't play with star players. They are a thing. Let's throw them on the table and see what happens. And let's just mix up the format a bit and see if people are interested, see if it works, and go from there. So I suppose that was kind of the idea from our side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was an unknown, right?
It was.
I don't know about you, but I was a little bit nervous around, is anybody going to think this is a good idea and actually come along?
Spoiler alert, they did come.
We're not sure if they thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, we're still not sure it was a good idea. I think for one thing I will mention is that I think the name that we chose, although I thought appropriate, did lead some people to believe that this was more of a rookie day for rookie coaches.
Teach you how to play Blood Bowl Day.
That was not the case. That was not the case. I mean, we made it clear in the players pack what this was all about. But I even had someone rock up on the day and say, "Oh, what made you do a noob friendly tournament?" I mean, A, all our tournaments are noob friendly, but B, that wasn't the purpose here. The real purpose was so that we didn't have to start printing dice with Thoughtless Bowl 27 sometime next year, because there's only so many numbers.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up with some other names, right?
Yeah. And, the idea was, if this works, then maybe there'll be a training day too. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
So we had quite a few people. We had 20 lists submitted. Of those, we had two not turn up on the day, let's say. So one drop out, one wasn't sure he could make it anyway. So ended up an 18-player tournament, which is still pretty good numbers.
Pretty happy with that. And it's such a comfortable number for the venue too.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel crowded. It doesn't feel like there's no one in there. It's actually a really nice kind of, it seems correct.
Yeah, it's that sweet, sweet spot. So with these teams, do you want to give us a bit of a rundown of what we were looking at?
Let's have a quick bounce through teams. So clarifier, the way we did that was on keyword. So instead of having your Norse team or your case, we used the regional keywords: Badland Brawl, Elven Kingdoms League, the Masters of Undeath, those kind of keywords. So to build a team, you could use players or linemen from any team with that shared keyword, plus a staff player that was available to them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the idea. So when we bounced through the teams that people took, there were a pretty good mix. A couple of notable absences, but we had 3 from Badlands Brawl, Orcs and Goblins, 2 Elven Kingdoms, 2 Chaos Undivided, 2 Khorne, and the rest of the Chaos Gods were sadly neglected.
There's not really teams for 2 of those gods yet, though.
No, they really need to fix that.
Yeah. They're apparently, side note, they did the Warhammer, whatever it was, a couple of days ago, where they announced, to absolutely nobody's surprise, that 10th Ed 40k was coming and Lionel Johnson was back. But one of those comments on their Instagram page was that there will be some Blood Bowl news soon.
He is hoping.
It's about bloody time. It's been about 6 months since we saw the last team.
It's been 84 years. So there was a Halfling Thimble Cup, of which Halflings is the only viable team for. There was 1 Lustrian Super League, which made me change my roster. There were 2 Underworld Challenge, and there were 7 Old World Classic rosters submitted.
Old World Classic, that was the favoured one, wasn't it?
And to be fair, that was also the one with the most options.
Yeah, that's fair too. What about the big guys?
So, who did we have? look, and actually a real spread. So there was a Grack and Crumbleberry,
Hmm.
maybe playing with some halflings. There was one Ripper Bolgrot. There was one Black Gobbo. There were 2 Varag Gulchewers, an Eldril Sidewinder, a Glorial Summerbloom, a Glart Smash Rip, 3 Grashnak Blackhoofs.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's probably the one I would have built a team around.
A Skylar
Mm-hmm.
and a Fininidigrim. 2, I don't know, what's his last name? And Finning, I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah, just say Skylar.
Skylar. 2 Cindy Pie Whistles.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's fair.
A Carla Von Kill.
Mm-hmm.
A Mighty Zug.
Yep.
A Glottal Stop. 2 Ivar Ericssons.
Mm-hmm.
And a Thorson Stoutmead. Is that the lot? I think
That's
that's the lot.
Thorson was a surprise for me. The real thing I was struggling with, Rip is such a new star player. I mean, he's
Yes.
an old star player, but they've only released rules for him for
Recently.
this edition
Yep.
in the last Almanac. I would have sworn he would be one of the megastars.
I mean, yeah, look, I'm surprised they didn't put him straight in there, but I think it's the fact that they haven't
Yep.
just put him straight in. Also, there's probably a piece there around what teams he can go with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah. Rip is a big one. Troll with no negatrades. Beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, really big. So we had some double ups with Varag and Cindy. We had Grashnak and we had Ivar Eriksson, and the rest were kind of singles.
Yeah.
Across, which is pretty good. I'm glad it wasn't 10 Griffs and 10 Hack Flams.
Yeah, which it very well could have been if we hadn't have excluded those megastars, which was the whole point. We didn't want to stop people playing the star player they wanted to play, but we wanted to make your games a bit more varied with your opponents. So, and I think that worked.
Yeah. And I think the other good thing here is even with 7 Old World Classic League teams, they had a mix of players in them, so they weren't all the same team, and they a lot of them had different star players. So there was a real kind of, even playing the same team, you got a different flavor.
Yep. There was a couple of things that we probably should mention that were sort of missed a bit. I think a couple of people forgot that the star players have their own special rules. I know that Gertzie in particular didn't realize that his Elven star player had a special ability until the final game.
Oh God, he says go and look at, because what Gertzie was running Eldril.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
From memory, I don't think Eldril's is overly.
I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Once per game, Eldril may re-roll a failed agility test when attempting to use hypnotic gaze.
Yeah.
Nah. Look,
So it's not a big one, but still. I think there was a lot of the players that we had turn up are very much sevens players. And
yeah,
so,
this is literally the new thing that we've dumped on them, right?
Yeah.
Get your head around star players and the fact that they've all got a special thing that they do, not necessarily immediately obvious unless you actually read their entries.
Yeah. There are a couple of questions on the day of, what sort of shits and giggles are we expecting today in relation to Thoughtless Bowl 3, which we did, which was all shits and giggles. But the star players were enough, we felt. There were no extra match rules or anything like that.
No, and even to the point that a couple of people sort of going into it were like, oh, but and what about skills and things? And we're like, all right, let's just run this one a little bit vanilla. We've got enough. We've put a cherry on top. You've got yourself a star player. Let's just see how it plays out.
The whole point was that these people that the star player was teaching are skillless. They are the rookies of the rookie. So, yeah. Anyway, let's Shall we get into some results?
Let's get into results.
All right. So I'm just going to go through by round. We had 4 rounds, and I'll go through by teams, and we can go into who played what and everything after that.
Cool.
But round 1, on table 1, we had an Old World Classic team defeating Favourite of Corn 1-0. Table 2, Favourite of Chaos drew with Old World Classic 1-1. Table 3, Elven Kingdoms drew with Halfling Thimble Cup 1-1. Table 4, Old World Classic drew with Favourite of Chaos 1-1. Table 5, Badlands Brawl defeated Underworld Challenge 1-0. Table 6, Old World Classic defeated Underworld Challenge 2-1. Table 7, Badlands Brawl mirror match drew 1-1. So Badlands Brawl and Badlands Brawl. And Table 8, Elven Kingdoms defeated Old World Classic 2-1. And Table 9, Old World Classic and Lustrian Super League drew 2-2. So we've got quite a few draws. And that
so
was
many.
See, I think par for the course with, rookie teams, so to speak.
Yeah. And we'll circle back to this later in the episode because I think that is a theme for the day, maybe a learning, we'll see. I forgot that game was only 1-0.
So that was you against Badlands Brawl. So you were playing Underworld Challenge. What do you want to give a rundown?
Yeah, let's do a quick stop. So originally I had put together a roster, a Lustrian Super League roster that I thought was going to be just everything that you needed in a sevens team and more, right? So Lustrian Super League, you can put in Amazon linewomen, happy days. Just linewomen, good human stat, bit shit armor, but dodge, happy days. You need something to kind of take a hit, and the Slan lineman is a good option because he's basically a human. He's got decent armor. I think he's an armor 9 piece. Happy days, not a problem. He's there to get hit. Skinks do skinks. Like stunty dodge move 8, please. That is Scorefest. But what that team severely lacks is some punch, and thankfully Lustria gets Glottal Stop. So they get the big crocodile, a strength 6 player with animal savagery that once per game you can take out on an opposing player.
So effectively punching 2 people, most likely.
And in the one game I played with them to see if this worked, he took that failed animal savagery out on Grashnak and murdered him. It was the best.
Okay, yep.
So either way, that was it. Someone submitted that exact roster, maybe with some suggestions from me to say this was actually a wonderful thing, and they believed me and they submitted that exact roster, and I didn't want to run the same roster as somebody else. So I did a little bit of a backflip and found something more fun. So Underworld's Challenge.
You're the Gumby entry.
I know.
Just there if there's an odd number. You're not there to win.
I know, but
you're there to be silly.
If I'm there to play 4 games, I'm going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And seeing how many times you can score with skinks is fun. Let's put it out there. But you know what's also fun? This roster actually was fun, and I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. So for my linemen, I took 3 Skaven clan rats. And let's be clear, Skaven are good just as a standard, like Edge 3, move 7, you lose a point of armor on a human lineman, but you get a point of movement. Yes, please. 4 goblins, never bad, and 3 snotlings. Now, this was a bit of a dilemma.
So 8 players.
So
you got... No.
3. Yeah, keep going.
Maths is good.
I had, with my star player, I had a full 11-man roster.
Jesus, all right, yep.
And the really sad bit about that, right, is I only had 3 snotlings, and you can only swarm as many as you have on the pitch. And I couldn't get... So if I had 2 on the pitch, I only had 1 to bring on, and I couldn't quite get the extra person on the pitch, which was a little bit sad. Either way, that was the worst of it. And then the Black Gobbo. as my star player, and a desperate measure in there. So I had 11 players. I had a full 11-man roster, a desperate measure. And I made sure some of them were snotlings and goblins, but sure. And the Black Gobbo, who, for the bargain basement price of 225k, is a goblin with armor 9. Yeah. A 3-pass pass with disturbing presence, which I forgot every single game. 3+ loner, who cares? Dodge, sidestep, sneaky get, stab, and bombardier. And he misses out.
He's got bombardier as well.
And he does not have secret weapon.
I was trying to work out, like, how much is he?
225.
That's phenomenally
He's so
expensive.
Good. Yeah, but he's a armor 9 goblin with everything, and his special little star player rule. If your team includes the Black Gobbo, you can commit 2 foul actions per turn as long as he does one of them.
Yep.
So, oh my God, he is batshit amazing. Sign me the fuck up. Things I learnt on the day. So, my game 1 rocks up. Me, this roster, what you see in front of you, it's glorious. I still hadn't tried it. This was going to be the first game I'd played with it, but in my head it seemed like fun. And it was just going to be like, how many times can we commit fouls? Marcus at the other table, Badlands Brawls, basically Orcs and Varag.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad
solid
roster.
It's very solid.
I mean, straight up Orcs, armor 10. And the thing with 7s, and this was a learning for me for the day, right? Is that if I think about all the time I played Blood Bowl 2, right through up until now, armor value is probably the stat that I've ignored the most. If you get an armor value stat increase, no, I'm not taking that. I will take literally anything else. But, oh my God, armor 10.
Armor 10 is such an upgrade from armor 9.
When you've only got 7 guys on the pitch, they stay on the pitch. You win the numbers game so much. And I think this was the moment it clicked. And then Varag, a strength 5, no nega trait, just beast of a dude. Whew. Mildly terrifying. Anyway, that motherfucker died to fouling from a Black Gobbo. But it was theme of the day, right? Is that when all you're dealing with is linemen actually handling the ball, pretty tricky.
Yep.
So I went down 1-0, and it was so close on so many times. And probably the piece I really enjoyed about the day, skipping ahead, was just how much every single game felt like everyone had something in it, like there was a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the good thing about so many draws. But yeah, like moral victory. I fouled Varag to death. But I actually lost the game 1-0, which was a little bit sad because it was close.
Oh, God, imagine what would have happened if you had one. Moving on. Round 2. So, Favourite of Corn on table 1 defeated Old World Classic 1-0. Table 2, this was your table, Underworld's Challenge off. So, Underworld's Challenge, I'm guessing that's yourself. 2
Yes.
defeated the other Underworld's Challenge 0.
Yeah.
Table 3, Badlands Brawl 2, Halfling Thimble Cup 1. Table 4, Favourite of Chaos defeated Elven Kingdoms 2-1. Table 5, Old World Classic and Favourite of Chaos in a 1-1 draw. Table 6, Old World Classic defeated Badlands Brawl 1-0. Table 7, Old World Classic drew with Elven Kingdoms 1-1. Table 8, Old World Classic 2, Lustrian Super League 0. And then Table 9, Badlands Brawl defeated another Old World Classic 1-0.
So still mostly close games, except for those sneaky 2-0s.
Only
Yeah,
2 ties this round out of the 9 games.
no, but like
Which
a
is
lot
good.
of, and look, you don't expect huge scores in
No.
sevens. Like, two is a pretty busy game. 4 is bullshit. But
Yes.
look, so my game, that one was against Craig, who basically ran Skaven linemen and Glart Smash Rope. And there was 2 things that went well for me that game. One is Craig's desire to go near the sideline.
Oh, no. He did message me the night before saying, need to remember how to play this game.
Yeah, and look, we talked about that, and we did go through, but he did it once, and I showed him, and then he may have done it another couple of times.
You showed him each time?
And look, at some stage, I figured the penny would drop. No, but the other thing that really kind of made this game was Craig's dice and his inability to roll them when he needed to. So it was one of those things that he could, he wasn't getting through goblin armor. He wasn't, little snotlings were just, he was getting pushes and dodge stars, and they were just sidestepping to be in more irritating places. There was a stage there when Glart grabbed the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrifying. And Glart, surrounded by other little rats, started legging it up the pitch. But unfortunately, somebody had got themselves a little bit of a freebie out of a roll-off somewhere along the line, and all of a sudden, Glart was a frog.
Oh, you got the wizard.
I got the wizard.
Oh.
And
Glart being a frog.
I might have frogged him.
What's Glart's strength?
He's only a 4.
Even so, that's like a
It was
1
worth
in
it.
3 chance.
It was
of
absolutely
going off.
worth it, and I rolled the 5, and it was the best thing in the world. And then I stepped on him.
No, dear.
I felt terrible, but it was the best thing in the world. Yeah, it was a double-edged sword. But honestly, there was not much that Craig could have done the way that his dice decided to show up to that game. I feel like he might have borrowed him off Lee at one point.
All right, moving on. Round 3, table 1, we had Favourite of Corn and Favourite of Chaos in a 0-all draw. Table 2, Underworld's Challenge. Mr. Gumby opposite me, defeating Old World Classic 2-1. And table 3, Old World Classic 1, defeating Old World Classic 0. Table 4, Underworld Challenge 1, defeating Old World Classic 0. Table 5, Lustrian Super League 1 to Elven Kingdoms 0. Table 6, Old World Classic and Badlands Brawl 0-all. Table 7, Favourite of Chaos 2 to Elven Kingdoms 0. That's kind of should be the other way around, shouldn't it? Table 8, Badlands Brawl and Halfling Thimble Cup drew 1-all. And then Table 9, Badlands Brawl and Old World Classic drew 1-all. So you were up against Ant this round.
I was. What a cracker of a game. And this was one of the few games I actually remembered Desperate Measures. And I only really remembered them because Ant made a point when we started going, I need to remember to roll my Desperate Measure. And I checked my roster and I went, I have one of those too. I should do that. Anyhow, so we did.
You could get a wizard.
No, I did one better. And so Ant rolled the banana peel,
Mm-hmm.
and I rolled the razzle dazzle.
See, both of those are good.
Both of those are so good. And it's always at tight, and it's always a great game with Ant. He and the other half of this, right, is he had Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
So he had Cindy Pie Whistle, Lob and Pies, little exploding pies, and I
And
had the
Black
Black Gobbo
Gobbo.
lobbing stuff back. So we were just in a bomb off over there too. Cindy, apparently the game before, she'd gone into her own and done wonderful things, and she just, she was out of self-raising flour or something in ours, I think.
She was tired.
Yeah, that little halfling arm was a little bit cooked. This legitimately came down to the last turn of the game, and so we're sitting at 1-1. I have the ball. Ant plays a very solid defense. He basically blocks off, 3/4 of the board. And it's doable, but I have to get a rat or through some dodges and do some stuff, right? And then I remembered I have me a razzle dazzle, and so I just went around. And in the last turn of the game, I went 14 squares without a dodge.
Oh no!
And scored.
As you do.
Yeah. Movement 7. It's a good thing. When you can do it twice, even better.
Oh, good Lord. That's the whole pitch, basically. Really is, isn't it?
There was nowhere that was safe.
It's like 6 squares, 6 squares.
Yeah,
6
and I was,
squares.
somewhere in that middle zone, just going, right, I can go anywhere.
Good Lord. All right. Round 4, final round. Now, I loved how close this whole
My God, let's
tournament
reset
was.
here.
Yes.
Because I think you made a point before you drew this round to say that there were 12 people who were eligible depending on game results.
Yeah, depending on game results, and of course that took into account the fact that like player 12 needed all 11 players above him to get nothing for that round, which is never going to happen. But like it was really close. It was closer than a lot of our tournaments have been. Same sort of scoring, so all done by points. 20 points for a win, 10 for a draw, none for a loss. Touchdowns, you get 1 per touchdown up to a maximum of 3. 1 per casualty up to a maximum of 3, and then 1 for perfect defense. So if your opponent scores nothing, you get an extra 1, and an extra 1 for getting your score sheets in on time, which happened most of the day. So what's that? That's 20, 23, 26, 27, 28 possible points per round. And to be at round 4, we had, I don't think there was anyone undefeated at this point.
No.
Just a quick check. No one undefeated. And so many people in with a chance. And let's have a listen to these results, shall we? So round 4, obviously, you've got your top 2 playing off against each other, all that going down and down and down. Table 1, Old World Classic against Old World Classic. 0-all draw. Table 2, Favourite of Corn and Elven Kingdoms. 1-all draw.
Oh, so many people just jumped off a podium.
Table 3, Old World Classic defeated Elven Kingdoms 2-0. Table 4, Halfling Thimble Cup defeated Underworld's Challenge 2-0. Table 5, Lustrian Super League defeated Favourite of Chaos 4-0.
I told you the skinks were good.
Table 6, Badlands Brawl defeated Favourite of Chaos 2-0. Table 7, Badlands Brawl and Old World Classic 1-all. Table 8, Underworld's Challenge and Badlands Brawl 0-all. That was your game. Table 9, Old World Classic and Old World Classic 1-all. So we had, of the 9 games, we had 3 wins. So everybody, I think that shows that everybody was really close and really well matched in their games there.
Yeah. Yeah, skinks aside.
Skinks aside, yes.
And
that's a star of a game, that one.
That should
27 points he got for that game. So 20 for the win, 3 for the touchdowns, 2 casualties, 1 perfect defense, and score sheet in on time. 1 more casualty would have been a perfect round.
That is everything that you want in a game of Blood Bowl. Apparently, though, it did make up for a game earlier in the day where it turns out that a lot of dwarves have tackle and a lot of teams that have a lot of dodge don't enjoy a lot of tackle. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yes, tackle is a thing. There is a reason that one of my updated Blood Bowl 3 teams has block and tackle on everybody. Tackle is a real thing. But yeah, so you had a 0-all draw.
And it was that game again could have gone either way. So I was playing Kingsley, who has only picked up the game for this season of our regular Monday night Blood Bowl.
And not only that, submitted his roster at like midnight the night before.
Yeah, so we were talking about, because he messaged us at about 10 p.m. and said, and he was telling me he had this conversation with at home the other week, and he just got shut down. Apparently they had things on and they were going to do things, and then at like 10 o'clock they're like, "Oh, so what time are you leaving tomorrow?" I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, weren't you going to the nerd thing? And at that point in time, he messaged and went, "Oh, can I still make it? Because it turns out I have permission. I don't know how that happened, but let's get on board." So we were discussing teams at close to midnight. He printed his roster at like 1 a.m. So it was very much a late entry. It was basically Orcs and Varag again.
Yep, very simple.
It does what it says on the tin.
Yes, very easy, very efficient,
reliable.
Yeah,
it was and this was a game where I also forgot the desperate measure, but it's just it was a game that could have gone either way. But for both of us, the moments to capitalize is when the dice just said no. Kingsley legitimately failed to go for it into the end zone. He hit the tripwire and went down.
Yeah, it's a 5 in 6 chance of falling over then, isn't it?
So that was a legitimate thing. There are a couple of times I had to capitalize and stuff where I needed to do things, and that was the time that failed. So yeah, I could have easily have lost that. I could have easily have won it, but it was one of those games that was literally up until again the last turn. Either one of us could have nabbed a ball and done something stupid, and it would have worked. If the dice had done the right thing, one of us could have snuck out a win. So it was savage. And armor 10, I just could not clear any. Or I was just hoping to be able to foul the hell out of some orcs, and get a couple off the pitch, and then have numbers, and you can run around. And all of a sudden, it's not so bad. Even 4 assists, 2 fouls later, and Varag's still standing on the bloody pitch.
You couldn't kill him this game.
Could not kill, and don't think I didn't try, because I tried. I literally, because you can put 2 fouls in, because I can do one, and as long as the other foul is the black gobbo, I can do it. And it doesn't say that it has to be against different targets. So I put that bitch down. I surrounded him, and 2 people kicked him, and he still stayed on the pitch. I think from that, I did that at least twice, and I only stunned him on both occasions. Useful, but not what I wanted.
No, you don't want that bastard off the pitch.
But yeah, it was just, as I said, super close game. It was good fun. It was a nail biter to the end. It was just didn't do what it needed to do, and that was the game where the Black Gobbo up until then had done a lot of fun things with bombs, and he did a lot of really fun things, just being irritating with dodge and sidestep and armor 9. So he just stayed there. He tried to shank an orc who was standing next to him. He tried to foul here and there, but otherwise he just tagged ball carriers and orcs that were going to be irritating and just stood there, and it's kind of great. And a 3+ pass means you can chuck a ball.
Did you have an actual Black Gobbo model, or are you just
Yes.
using something? Because that model is
It's
awesome.
not. So I don't have the Forge World one,
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got something else?
but Brute Farm did one a while ago, and it is this amazing hooded goblin critter holding a dynamite stick, licking a knife. So yeah, he was because I changed my roster at kind of the 11th hour, so I didn't double up. Yeah, that was a last minute. Holy shit! I've got to get some paint on this guy. So we did some rushing, but he turned up okay actually. It was good fun.
He's one of the Forge World in general. I'm not overly keen on a lot of their models. They just seem a bit silly. Like the Forge World Rat Ogre, for example, is one of the most goddamn ugliest things I've ever seen.
Goofy, yeah.
But the Black Gobbo model is the official one. Is one of the better ones.
Yeah,
One
he's
of the
nice.
best looking star players overall, I think.
I don't necessarily love the paint scheme. I think that loses something because he looks a little bit shiny.
That's a usual
Everything's
thing
a
with,
corner, but the Forge World paint schemes are generally a bit pants.
yeah. Yeah, no, they are. Speaking of paint schemes,
Mm-hmm.
we ran just the stock standard awards for this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So, third, second, first, best opponent, and best painted. So, getting into some of these results now. Third for best painted was Lee's Favored of Chaos with 18 votes.
Yeah.
Or 18 points.
I'm reasonably
votes.
sure. They're votes, but it's kind of the highest of the votes because there was waiting. I'm reasonably sure because Lee is running, or he had some chaos already painted up. And so part of his logic around building his team was how little do I need to paint? And I'm pretty sure he added a couple of base wins. But yeah, he does such a good job. And Lee is an institution in, G-Dub tournaments across the board, 40K since 1962, that kind of thing. So the guy knows how to pump out an army, let alone just a Blood Bowl team, and not only, make it look nice, but make it look like it grabs your attention from across the room. He does enough to it that you're like, oh, look, there's a couple of interesting little tidbits in here. So even stuff that he rushes out, because we all leave painting to the last minute, he has a real knack of just doing stuff that draws attention.
I mean, that's obvious from the number of votes. Just having a quick skim down the votes, it was pretty solid. The top three, there's 10 points between third place and fourth place. Yep. 10 votes. So, these three, they were always going to be top three. But yeah, Lee's were phenomenal. Second place, 27 points. Damien had, they were mostly Norse, weren't they? It
was mostly Norse. It was an old world classic list. He's the one that had Thorson. But he also had his display board set up where he had it was like a bit of a leather bound tome situation with a stubby on top, and the team sitting on top of this kind of thing. He'd written out like a themed list where it had his drinking pals, and they were the linesmen, and this kind of stuff, which was fun. Yeah, just a lot of effort into just doing the little things to give it some flavor, which was really nice.
Those little things tend to be the things that push people, though.
So much.
When you're voting for something, for a best painted award, I mean, John's bloody halfling pot in the first Thoughtless Bowl that we ran. I mean, those things, when they're done well, don't just tack them on, but when they're done well, they just add heaps.
Well, I mean, you're looking at, in this instance, 20 odd teams, and a lot of them were painted nicely. So what splits the difference? Some little clever added extras every day of the week.
Speaking of added extras, first place, 32 points, so just pipping Damien. It pretty much came down to the last two people's votes, basically. And unfortunately, one of those two people was Damien himself, so he couldn't vote for himself. But pipping him with 32 points was Yelv.
It was a boat.
And he had a boat.
Yeah.
Damien had a display, Yelv had a boat. And that boat was pretty.
It was nice. So, again, mainly Norse roster, old world classic. He had Ivar Eriksson, I'm pretty sure, but he had. So, Yelv also plays Saga as a historical game. He plays Vikings in Saga. He has this boat. He apparently uses it for terrain and stuff in the game there as well. But it's this really pretty, fully painted and decked out, sort of sails and everything. Viking longboat, little shields along the side, little oars and whatnot. And his team was sitting in a bloody boat, and it was glorious. And you can't ignore the fact that somebody put a bloody boat on the table.
No.
We're still not sure whether it floats.
One of the votes actually said boat.
Well, because not disappointingly, and we shouldn't be surprised, and we should actually think about this for future tournaments, but people aren't great at leaving their name next to their.
No. I had to do a lot of interpretation with some of these votes.
And, with only 18 players, it's kind of okay. We know who's brought what, and we know who's got what teams and what they look like and all that jazz. So when you get a thing, a little voting slip, and it says, the Orange Chaos team or the boat, you know whose it is. And so I fully expect the number of those just said the boat team.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Mark who gave me a voting slip which had Yelv first, second, and third. He's like, I don't care if I'm disqualified, it's good enough to get all three votes. I didn't give him all the votes for that.
He gets one, but
Yeah, I gave him the top one, but yeah. So well done to Yelv taking out Best Painted. Second award, yeah, very pretty. Second award, and probably the most important one, is the Best Opponent. Because let's face it, it's too easy to be a dick these days. So let's have some fun, people. It's a fun game. We're running fun tournaments. The more votes, the more spread I see, which I did see huge spread on this one. Like so many votes for lots and lots and lots of different people. In fact, there are only a couple of people that didn't get any votes for Best Opponent. You were one of those.
I'm not really surprised. I was a bit of a dick.
You are a dick. But yeah, look, this is what I want to see. I want to see lots and lots of votes for Best Opponent. I want to see I don't want to see somebody run away with 10 votes like last tournament. But
I mean,
that was just me counting wrong.
You can only spend so much time on your knees, guys. Come on.
But yeah, no, such a nice variety of votes there, which says a lot about the quality of our players, which I'm really, really fond of. So we had two people tied on 2 votes each. The way that we've always done placings for Best Opponent is whoever comes lower on the list as far as placings go gets the tiebreaker, because as I said on the day, it's harder to be nice if you're losing every single game. So 2 people, Lee and Mark Hannah, both ended up on 2 votes. Mark taking 3rd place simply because of where he ended up on the scoreboard, and then 2 people on 3 votes. So 3 of the 4 opponents for these people voted them best on the day, which is huge.
Yeah.
Phil and Anthony. And Anthony took it out because of where he ended
overall
up.
Placings, he ended up lower, so he gets a better opponent,
exactly
which is bloody glorious. The fact that A, it was so close, but B, the fact that out of 4 opponents, 3 of them went, this is legitimately the best game I've had today. or this person has gone out of their way to make me have fun, or to try and help me have fun, which is what it's all about. And
Yeah.
I've played both. I played Ant on the day. I've played Phil a bunch of times before, and there are so many people there that could have taken all that.
Yeah. And look, I know Phil from the tournaments, but being as you're always the numbers guy, I'm always running them. I'm pretty sure I've never played Phil, but nice guy. But Ant, I have played, and yeah, every single game against him is just always a pleasure. So, kudos to both of those guys. Kudos to everybody for who got a vote.
Which is basically everyone except me.
Pretty much.
Go you people.
So, getting into the placings, we will go backwards. Now, this is out of a grand total of 112 possible points. 112. So, 18th place, playing Elven Kingdoms, Gertzy with 20 points.
Out of a possible how many?
112.
Okay, good. Yeah, just wanted to
checking.
clarify.
All right, cool. 17th place with 28 points, Craig with Underworld's Challenge. 16th place, 34 points, Mark Hanna on Old World Classic. 15th place, 40 points, Moose with Badlands Brawl. 14th place, 41 points, Lee with Favourite of Chaos Undivided.
And more skulls than you think you can roll.
Yes. 13th place, the best painted Yelv with 41 points as well. He came above Lee basically on touchdown differential. Was the tiebreaker there. 12th place, 52 points. Val with Elven Kingdoms. Narrowly beaten on 11th place. Ant with 52 points. And again, a better touchdown differential. 10th place, Ian, 53 points. 9th place, Dylan, 54 points. Where it gets really tight around here. So 8th place, Damien, 62 points. 7th place, Phil, also on 62 points, but just one better touchdown. 6th place, Tim, 63 points. So 8th place, 62. 7th place, 62. 6th place, 63. 5th place, 64 points. Luke with Favourite of Chaos. And then the top 4. 4th place, losing out on 3rd place by simple touchdown differential. 65 points. How do you feel?
Oh, so bloody close.
You're not supposed to come third if you're filling numbers. I mean, you're not supposed to outwardly try and lose games either.
No, and that was actually the dilemma when I realized that going into this last round, I was doing a little bit better than I had planned. And I went, shit, well, I can't lose the game because that skews the results as well. So I guess we just play it and see what happens.
Yes.
And probably the best result in the grand scheme of things, but it was close.
Yeah, it was very close. So 3rd place, Will, again with 65 points, playing Lustrian Super League, your other team.
That would have been so good too.
2nd place, the last minute entry, Kingsley with Badlands Brawl, 66 points. So, just as a point of reference, between 8th place and 2nd place was 4 points. That is tight. That is tighter than I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was just awesome result. Everyone, if you came top 8 in this tournament,
you could have come
second. Podium.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1st place. You didn't. Who came first with 88 points out of a possible 112?
88 is a big jump too.
It is. 22 points above 2nd was Marcus playing his Badlands Brawl. So I think you said before Marcus was playing Varag.
Varag and Orcs.
Yep, as was Kingsley. So first and
Varag and
second.
Orcs. Yeah.
Very, very similar rosters.
Yeah, great. So we just ban Varag for the next one and we're good.
Yeah, done. That was the day. What are your thoughts? How do you feel it went?
It was fun. A few things. Firstly, we actually got a better turnout than I expected. Particularly sort of, I think we had a lot of people sort of sign up in the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, the numbers jumped up considerably.
which was glorious and super appreciated. But it was just probably one of those ones where it was like, oh, maybe we've haven't advertised it, or it's not quite clear what the idea is, or people aren't 100% on board, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of people showed up and it was the best. So that was super cool. I think the other piece, for me, was the star players, and they were very obviously the show.
Which was the point.
The whole point, right? And I think the results that we saw really show how much not having any skills, what it does to a team. So apart from your star player, all of a sudden, no bastard can do stuff. And the amount of draws, the amount of low scores, the amount of really close games really spoke to teams that just really struggled to do the basics, which, again, leans into the idea, is it maybe the best thing for it? Open question.
Look, I mean, by all means, comment, send us a message, jump into Discord, have a chat with us about this. But points wise, having it so close, that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
That showed me that literally almost anyone could have walked away, second and third. Marcus definitely earned his
absolutely
first place, but yeah, even he drew a game in round 3. So
yeah, it was super tight, and all the games. Look, the good thing about it is all the games felt tight. They felt like you were in them. There was probably that 1-4-0 that happened that it wasn't like that, but I think the rest of them,
that was the standout
anomaly.
Yeah, like nobody else scored more than 2 the whole day.
So, no, I think fundamentally it worked. I think seeing the spread of teams, I think very clearly the teams that had the most options got the most players. That makes sense. But even then, having a spread of star players was super cool. It would be interesting to run it again with players having done it once and having maybe some learnings and stuff, to see if we started seeing a little bit more of a clustering of what kinds of star players, what kinds of teams, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yep. Might change a little bit. I was intrigued too by the fact that we had, 7 Old World Classics?
Yes.
And top placing of those was Tim in 6th.
Yeah.
So,
and look, I was surprised in that Old World Classic gets you your Norse, so you've got block, your Dwarves, so you've got block tackle. You've got the human lineman, standard armor 9, great. Halflings are there, Noblars are there. Like, there's such a mix of players. On paper, they look good.
Yep. There's no Varag though, so.
No, I mean, straight up, a strength 5, no neg trait beast does a thing. And I think, look, there's probably a point there around putting. I think he took the place of the Croxigore, the Minotaur, the Ogre in the list.
Yep.
But he's reliable, and he's got decent agility too.
He's a decent star, and he always has been. Any other thoughts from the day? How many times did you see the Nope dice roll? And how many times did you see it work?
Oh my God, those, I feel like they were fun.
Everyone on the day got a Nope dice, which was completely blank, apart from one side that says Nope.
And
It's
for
a
those
2+ dice.
Yeah, there we go. So for everyone going, what the fuck do you use that dice for? So you need to roll a 2+. It's a go for it. It's a bonehead. It's an animal savagery. It's a any of those 2+ rolls. Everything's works except for the nope. And I think they're super fun. I think the inherent, I won't say problem. It's not a problem, but it feels like the nope comes up because you remember the nope. Also, it's a little bit weird when rolling a blank is a good thing. All of a sudden, shooting blanks is not so bad. To be honest, wouldn't be such a bad thing. But yeah, I think it's like there was some similar feedback, tongue in cheek, to the Thoughtless Sevens dice that we did for the league, where it's like, it feels like I'm rolling the wrong thing, but they're so much fun. They just, it hurts my soul because it feels, I'm sure they don't, and they don't. I've rolled a lot of them. If everyone except Craig, who rolled 13 blanks before the day started and then proceeded to nope his way to losses, they're all pretty average. Like, it was actually, over the course really good, but it just feels like they taunt you.
We had a lot of interest in those dice. A lot of people keen. One person even saying, "Can you make this in a lot more colors? Because I'll take them all."
Yeah.
And yeah, no, they were a big hit on the day.
Yeah, no, I
do like our dice.
I do like dice. And I think that was fun. I think having dice that are a little bit different, like not only just a different color or a different design, but a different function is nice, because we've all got a shit ton of dice and that's great. But
how many of you have a nope dice?
Yeah,
18.
I dig it. I dig it. Well, potentially more.
Slightly more now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got one, so it's 19. Clinton did pay for his ticket, so he will get one.
Yeah.
Even though he couldn't make it.
We have more than 18 in stock. So it turns out that you too could own your very own Nope dice.
Yeah, it's a very good lead on. So the website, thoughtlesscasualgaming.com, not only has a little bit of a merch area, so you can get the Nope dice, you can get the training dice if you like. The official TCG Sevens mats are officially sold out now.
Out of stock.
But there are other things, other dice, other bits and pieces. We've still got some of those amazing block dice, which are like my favorite block dice in the world.
We do, until we do another set.
No, I don't know.
I have to work
these ones glow in the dark. They're just awesome. Anyway, there's a merch section, but more importantly, we do have a winners section as well. So absolutely every winner placing award from all our tournaments that we've ever run and the leagues that we've done are up on the website as well. So if you have been good enough to place or get an award in one of our tournaments, your name is up there.
Good on you.
Well done.
Random other last minute thoughts around the actual day. Look, honestly, I don't know. You did all the work, but I feel like they're easy to run and it's glorious. You've got a venue. We've got everything pretty much set up. You show up on the day. You get some scores. You bang them in. Like, it's really nice to be able to run something like that and not, it not be hard work. It would be work.
It's really, well, yeah. I mean, I was exhausted by the end of it, and then
I slept really well too.
Oh, I had to go out for drinks with the boss afterwards. But anyway, it's not hard work, and look, kudos and thanks again to Rich at Throw the Dice for letting us put these on. But thanks to everyone that rocks up, because you guys make it easy. Like, I just sit there at the end of each round, stick a few things in, press a couple of buttons on the computer, away we go. The entry fees that you guys pays for your table hire for the day. For Rich, it also, being that most of the prizes are in gift vouchers for Throw the Dice, that puts money in Rich's pocket, which is good as well. So supporting him, supporting the local game shop, which is great. And then we can, put the rest towards bits of swag like Nope dice.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then as far as format goes, a couple of things, and a few people have reached out and given ideas and thoughts and stuff, and a bunch of people were really supportive of it. We got some suggestions that maybe there were a few people that chose, and I will say that they chose to run basically 6 of the same linemen and star player. And I think some of those people had a less than exciting day because there was less than as many options. So I think there's definitely a lesson there. Maybe for us, maybe for them, maybe for everybody around picking a team. Yes, it's simple, but does it tickle all of your pickle? Don't know. Also, six beastmen are good. So it's hard. 6 orcs, not a bad thing. So there's swings and roundabouts there as well. I very much had to feel like I wanted to put in some variety. But also there were some people there that owned one team. So all of a sudden it's a bit of a stretch to go, oh, we'll buy 3 other teams. So you can mix up 2 linemen from here and 1 from there kind of stuff. So
that was never our intention. We never wanted anyone to go out and buy extra things or, I mean, there's always 3D printing if you really want to try and do that, but
yeah,
don't go out and buy teams just
no.
for arguments just because we say stupid things.
Yeah, so I think that's maybe a thing. You could arguably basically run this as a standard sevens tournament, but just replace one of the positions with a star player. The cost will start messing with rosters, which gets fun, and that would create a little bit more variety. So I heard that as a suggestion, or maybe it counts as 2 of your positions as an option. There's some ideas there. The flip side is I got feedback to go, it was actually really good because you're putting in a star player and it means that you didn't have to break your brain around all the other positions and what they do and other stuff. So, 2 sides to that coin. Other ideas that people threw at us was almost a progression to style thing. If this is supposed to be a coaching clinic, why doesn't one of those players after each game learn something?
Didn't say they were smart.
No. But,
They're more like groupies than anything else, really.
If they're all trying to show off. Or the other one was, what if you had a random one of your players ended up being the captain of that team. And so maybe they could get leader as an example, or they could get a skill, but then you gave away points if your captain got taken out of action, or you could get extra points if your captain killed another captain, or that kind of thing as well. Yeah,
actually, that's not a bad idea.
I like that one. I don't think that necessarily relies on training day. I think there's potentially, yeah, you see where my head's at.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going. I like it.
I like
Store
that one too.
away.
Yeah, we'll just file that one in the bank for later. So look, I think the good thing is it got people thinking about how else could you do? What else could you do? How else could you make this even more fun than it was? I had a blast. I expected Dice to fail me. They failed me at critical times, but also they did some stupid things at stupid times. I turned Glart into a frog.
And that's what makes the day the most worthwhile.
And that was the other thing. I think having a star player on the pitch gives you a real obvious target.
Yes.
And I think there's probably, even if we didn't look at the captain idea for this one, extra points for killing the star.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said that to somebody on the day. Like, this is the obvious thing. You've got one guy with a shitload of skills. You take him off the field, your opponent's left with pretty much nothing. Just a handful of regular guys.
Yeah.
So that should always have been the aim, if you could anyway. If you got punching material or fouling ability, yeah, you're focusing on that star.
Yeah.
But yes.
All in all, it was fun.
I enjoyed it. Look, running it was easy.
It didn't feel much different to other sevens. I don't know whether it was the roster I took. I don't know if it's the thing, but it kind of felt like regular games of sevens because you don't have rerolls, you don't have a lot of skills. You kind of just roll with what your players can supposedly do on theory.
Perfect. Well, shall we take this time to announce
Are we going to do it again? Well, sort of.
Nah, sort of. Thoughtless Bowl 4.
Yes. IV.
The IV.
Yes.
This is a stock standard sevens tournament. We are going back to basics for our middle of the year tournament. This is on the, I think we worked it out, 17th of June, the Saturday.
Yes, the Saturday.
So lock it into your calendars now. It is already up and counting down on the website. We will start to do some promotion about that soon. And as soon as we get things organized, then there will be a players pack and you'll be able to sign up.
But fundamentally, it's sevens. It will be a team. It will be some skills. It will be bugs, like no stupidness, no thinking about things, no anything random that we're throwing in. The idea is let's just run something where people can just show up and play some sevens.
Yep.
And we'll do some more stupid shit later in the year.
The fact that we have a training day so that we don't have to keep numbering the Thoughtless Bowls does not mean we're not going to have Thoughtless Bowls throughout the year.
Yeah.
So, Thoughtless Bowl 4, here we go. Lock it in now, people. 17th of June. It is happening. Throw the dice. We will get to you with a players pack very soon.
You know what's in it, let's be honest.
Yeah. Just sign up.
Don't wait for that.
Don't wait for that. Sign up now. What else is on, though? So we still have that painting event at Throw the Dice. That is still going on till the 1st of May.
There's still shit tons of time.
Yeah,
I should paint some more things for that.
I should start painting my things.
Well, I haven't painted anything yet, but I feel like I should paint more than one.
I also feel the same. That is on. We have our Masters of the Universe board game giveaway.
My God, that is huge.
Yeah, so I am not only very excited about this, but I think we need to get together very shortly. If only somebody had some time off coming up that you could play games in.
The best.
It would be. Excellent. We are going to get together shortly, play that, give you guys our thoughts on why we think you should jump in this giveaway, but it's very simple. Tag somebody, like the Facebook post, done.
You literally have to do nothing. I mean, that's incorrect. You actually have to do something, but it's basically nothing. Figuratively, you have to do nothing, and you could win the whole bloody game. And it's pretty.
It's like 4 clicks on a keyboard. Click the like, click the comment, put the @ in, tab on the first person that comes up, click enter, done. You're in. But that is going on now. See our Facebook page for that. That's all I've got for tonight.
That's kind of the important stuff, right?
Yeah. As always, give us a follow. Facebook, Spotify, Podbean, Twitch, Twidbean, Podspot.
Yeah.
Facebean.
Only book.
Only book. I've got time coming up. I'm going to get that OnlyFans done. It's on my list of things to do.
I'll charge the camera.
If you think for some reason that we're worth chucking a couple of bucks a month towards, and I got some very nice comments about our podcast at training day.
By who?
I know, right? I think they must have been drunk.
I mean, they showed up to training day, so
yes, true. But if you feel like giving a couple of bucks a month, jump on our Patreon. You will get extra entries into the giveaway as long as you like and tag somebody, and you will go into the draw for our monthly Patreon giveaway as well. Very special thanks this episode to 2 new Patreons.
Who are these people?
So Moose has just jumped back on board for this year. Moose has a habit of handing me money and going, right, there you go. Rather than doing a monthly thing, he just goes, how much does this get me? I'm like, cool. Done. But also Luke. Luke jumped on board. Archie. So
people are
thanks,
wonderful.
Luke. I know, just fantastic. And as always, thank you very much to our thoughtless patrons, highest of the high, lowest of the low. Alice, Clinton, Kingsley, thank you guys. Much, much, much thanks. Crazy people.
Silliness. It's the best.
That's it from us. Thanks for listening, both of you. Laters.
Gotcha.
Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual